Hi, welcome to the Mind Talk podcast, Rena. I was so happy to have you here. Can you introduce yourself to our community?
Great. Okay, thanks, Ruchi, for having me over on the Mind Talk podcast. So, I'm Rena Ahuja, and my business is called Get DigiReach. I'm a trailing spouse. I'm quite proud about that. I have nearly 19 to 20 years of work experience behind me. I started, of course, my career in the corporate world in very different industry, biotechnology.
Mm.
And I love science. I love to study science. And very early in my career, I decided that just because I love science doesn't mean I want to be a doctor. You know,
Right.
that's the era in which I grew up as a teen, where if you like science, oh, you become a doctor. If you like math, if you're good in math, you become an engineer. That was the drift. But I knew didn't go with my personality. I'm a people person.
Mm.
But I did study life sciences. Neurology was my master's. It sounds so funny today as I talk, and my career is very, very different from what I studied. But yes, after that, I went on to do my management course, marketing and finance. And then I took those skill sets into the biotech industry.
Mm-hmm.
I started as an industry analyst. And then I said, okay, now I need to move onto the marketing side because the use of technology, marketing tech as we know today, was there 15 years ago. And it was all on the marketing side. So I was very fascinated by that. So I went on to do marketing roles in companies like Elmer, Thermo Fisher Scientific. These are the biotech companies
Mm.
that I worked with. And I brought in a lot of changes with respect to tech in my roles. And that actually brought my marketing team and the sales teams in my division much closer. We were more accountable. We got in marketing qualified leads, made it sales qualified. We did a lot of meaningful work for our sales teams. That was back in my corporate life. And then along with my family, when I had to move, that's when I started doing my own business in digital marketing. That's how my company is also named, Get Digi Reach. It means you get digital reach, and that leads to getting you awareness, visibility, leads, and then sales. My business I started in 2018 in digital marketing.
Mm.
So that's been my journey. And till date, I have continued working in digital marketing space. Now I'm bringing those learnings to business owners. My focus also in 2026 to write a lot more about how marketing is changing uh, with incoming of AI in the biotech industry, in the drug discovery industry as well. Those are the areas in which I've had work experience. So yeah, that's about me and my little backstory.
That's great. And but today, we were discussing digital marketing is such a big thing, right? So can you tell us a little about what all does digital marketing encompass?
Digital marketing today has given the ability to a small business owner, which can be an SME or which can be a solopreneur. It has given the power that these people didn't have a decade ago,
Mm.
which means that the old traditional marketing means of putting an advertisement in magazines, newspapers, going and doing talks to to audiences, and that was the only way and mean to get visible. That was the only means of doing traditional marketing, which now today has transformed in the digital space. Today, digital marketing means that you can get visibility through social media platforms, through written content, through by doing podcast, or if you are comfortable as a business owner by talking about what you do in video formats and building communities. So digital marketing means that you have the power to speak to a wider pool of audience, not only just in the country where you're based. Digital marketing is by putting your voice, your
Mm.
video, your written content out and being a thought leader a lot more faster.
So audio and video, definitely, I'm thinking YouTube and Instagram, right? But
Yeah,
what about written content? Where would it normally go on to? Just your website?
very good question. And that I will use this question to lead into what I do as of today. Written content as of today, of course, yes, website. And I come from the era of blogging, where blogging, I've been a part of the boom where blogging was a way to make a career. And it still is today, but it has taken a backseat. When
Mm.
it comes to written content today, I feel social media platforms like LinkedIn have become very powerful, be it for a professional sitting inside a corporate
Mm-hmm.
company wanting to reach its target audience faster,
Mm-hmm.
or if it is a professional running their own business in a SME structure, in a freelance solopreneur structure. For them, written medium, I think LinkedIn is still holding that power where you can write your about your work and still gain thought leadership. There is still power in written content
Mm-hmm.
on LinkedIn.
So how does the LinkedIn platform, how does it really work? Because we know that LinkedIn, I read somewhere recently, LinkedIn is the social media for professionals. So how does it really work? And I'm hearing these terms a lot, long form content, short form content. So I'm just going to throw these jumble of ideas at you and let you decode that.
LinkedIn, yes, is a social media platform. I have seen a lot of changes in its algorithm,
Mm-hmm.
specifically since during COVID. And even after that, they have continued to evolve. LinkedIn is a social media platform for professionals where you do not sell. There's no buy button on LinkedIn, but you create an influence to sell. It still is today the go-to place for job hunting, but
Mm-hmm.
it's also a very good platform for business owners. LinkedIn has that power uh, where people can, business owners especially, I'll talk in that context, business owners can create a lot of influence. Later on, I will give some examples of how some business owners, women business owners, have used the platform.
Mm-hmm. So you said that LinkedIn is a great place for business owners and women business owners in particular to showcase their products, their brands, and all of that. But you also mentioned that it is a great platform for recruitment. So what do recruiters typically look on at in a LinkedIn profile? Because a lot of LinkedIn profile, there seems to be like a set template people tend to use, or I feel like with a lot of social media platforms, we also tend to glorify what we actually do. So,
Hmm.
what are LinkedIn recruiters actually looking at, and how do they sift through the so many profiles that are on LinkedIn today?
Even before AI came, with social media, there has always been this trap of over glorifying. A lot of recruiters know about that already.
Okay.
With that knowledge, yeah, with that knowledge, uh, when they go on LinkedIn to look to for hiring, I'm going to talk about very specific things that they will look on LinkedIn. Um, it means that someone who's out looking for a job, they have to be searchable. Of course, you have to say in your headline on LinkedIn,
Mm.
which sits just below your photograph in that round circle. It has to say what skill you have. Are you a digital marketer? Are you a agile specialist? Are you a SaaS sales specialist? Along with that, you also have to be talking about what kind of value that skill set brings, and that has to be quantifiable. You should be mentioning in your About Us section, that is the second part,
Mm.
proof of the impact that you bring about. It may be very small. It can, like I do say in my introductions that my first job in Hong Kong, where I launched an education marketplace website. My big success story was bringing 1,000 visitors to that website
Mm.
within first 5 days of launch. It is not a very big number, me being a digital marketer, but to people who are reading, they know that, okay, this person knows how to quantify their efforts. So that is one thing that I would advise. Second, proof of impact in your About This page. The kind of dollar impact you brought in, kind of people you brought in. That is a scroll stopper. Recruiters will stop.
Mm.
And then the last thing I will also say, recommendations.
Mm.
Uh, Even if it's a voluntary work that one would have done, getting a recommendation on LinkedIn from them. It's what we call a social proof from your peers. It's very easy. This is a tip. It's very easy to get recommendation from your peers, someone who's not in your team, someone who's not above you, your peers. How did they view you?
Mm.
That these are three things that I will say will really stop the scroll.
As a digital marketer, I only got 1,000 followers. But when we think about it in physical, because digital space is so abstract. But when you think about it in a physical space, imagine having 1,000 people of a room standing and listening to you. I mean,
Yeah,
it's amazing to have that kind of crowd. And I think
yeah,
as in the digital space, we often miss that.
correct. Because digital space, when people are so hooked to being on social media, often 1,000 is a very small number. So what? You brought 1,000 visitors to the website in the first week of launch. But imagine, opening a store, having a store opening, a physical store opening where 1,000 people have come to your store. Oh my God. Think of it as a physical event.
Mm.
And and it's no faff, it's a small number, but the person is quantifying here.
Correct.
I'll
Correct.
encourage the audience to do that, however small it is.
Mm, mm. And is there a formula for posting on LinkedIn? And if so, what would it be? Just spill the secrets here.
Do not struggle to post a lot on LinkedIn.
Mm,
If you have a lot of time that you can dedicate to, maximum 3 posts a week is good enough. Start with 2.
mm,
You will see results, better results. Another thing is, many of them, since they are coming from the very popular Instagram platform to LinkedIn, they will feel that, okay, video is a place to be. Because also LinkedIn has started putting out videos. Of course, it is going to give higher visibility, but there are a lot of AI generated videos currently. So don't struggle to
mm,
go with video first. Go with written posts, go with simple graphics or photos that you can put. And more than posting, the secret over LinkedIn is that, commenting. I,
mm,
yeah, posting is not such a big deal as much as commenting on the industry peers, on people with whom you are connected. If you're
mm,
commenting there and say in 2 weeks, 3 weeks, I haven't been posting because I've taken a little break from work, so I'm not even planning a lot of content.
Hmm.
So, but I'm commenting. I maintain that I don't see a huge drop in my engagement. So that's the secret. Do not struggle with posting, but yes, do persevere to comment.
Consistency is the key to
The
it.
easiest way is to join LinkedIn groups.
Okay, okay.
And because over here in the LinkedIn groups, consider it as a WhatsApp
Hmm.
chat group, you
Hmm.
know. And I find it easier to comment. Say for me, I've been away from biotech industry for what? Since 20, over 11 years, I've been away from biotech industry. And I've been reading here and there. But now when I want to go back, I'm looking for communities on LinkedIn to be a part of so I can start to comment.
Right.
So that is the approach that I'm using. So even if you're coming to your old industry or you are wanting to get into a new industry, go to LinkedIn groups.
Hmm.
They are going to blow up in a very, very big way. Like how Facebook groups just
Yeah,
became,
yeah.
and even now Facebook groups are the feature that people are using.
Since it is a professional platform, how important are images and what kind of images should one post?
To answer your question of what kind of images people should post, now there are two extremes. LinkedIn, you will see a lot of people are using it as a ground for ranting, for talking a lot about political issues,
Hmm.
just to become viral. My advice is that do not use LinkedIn for such things. There are other platforms, I will say Instagram, Facebook. Those platforms, I think you can keep it for all such things. But when it comes to LinkedIn, I will say treat it as your workplace. How you would be working in a physical office, in a physical environment where you have your peers, your teammates, your bosses sitting. How would you want to be viewed over there? And keeping that in mind when you are posting images on LinkedIn, I will still say post photos, pictures that link back to either your work ethic, either your belief, either what drives you. These are non-work topics, okay? So what drives you, what motivates you, and what keeps you going. I give this example many times in my free webinars that if you are putting a picture of you taking your dog out for a walk is fine, but how you put it in the context of your work
Hmm.
is very important on LinkedIn. Like it energizes you, or you are a pet lover, and there's something that grounds you as a person. Giving that angle to these kind of non-work related content, that's the way to uh, handle images, pictures, uh, when you put it out on LinkedIn. I have a very good friend. She's a successful financial planner. Is a single mom of three.
Mhm.
And she always tells me, Rena, LinkedIn is so boring, you know. And she's very successful with Instagram. And she puts a lot of content on Instagram related to her work because she does insurance. She talks a lot about how women, when they start earning, insurance should be a place of investment.
Hmm.
But when she comes to LinkedIn, she says that, no, LinkedIn is boring, and she will roll her eye. But despite that, I encourage her. I tell her LinkedIn is boring, but you are not boring. You bring out your perspective on LinkedIn by posting. Sarcasm is fine on LinkedIn.
Hmm.
Humor is fine on LinkedIn. You be humorous. You can be. Though you may be seeing 98% of the people talking very serious stuff. But you be what you are. So it does take a while, to find your place on LinkedIn. But I'll say the safest place is to imagine that you're in a workplace and what values you would be bringing out.
So, my next question is something, is this a topic it's very close to my heart. Stay at home moms is a role that has been glorified into something really big. But I see that when a life event happens, a challenging event happens, and stay at home moms want to go back to work, no company is hiring them because they raised kids or they cooked or cleaned or hosted dinner parties. So, how can women optimize the LinkedIn platform if they are choosing to be stay at home mom? Because finally it's a joint decision, right? But what should happen? Because based on what you're saying, a LinkedIn platform cannot be done overnight. It
Hmm. True.
consistency is the key you've mentioned, and being at it in small doses is enough. But just be consistent. So, can you shed a little light there?
So I'm not sure if many of the listeners are aware of this, and I'm not sure, Ruchi, even if you are aware of this. LinkedIn has an option of, you know, if you go to LinkedIn today after you listen to this podcast, go to your profile, however old it is, however embarrassed you are of your LinkedIn profile, go to it, and you will see a section called experience. In
Hmm.
experience section, LinkedIn allows you today to put career break as an option.
Hmm.
And there are a list of reasons: bereavement, career transition, caregiving, full time parenting, gap year, layoff,
Hmm.
relocation, retirement, voluntary work, travel. Um, so, this is something that I will encourage you to make use of.
Okay. Hmm.
Showing, yeah, it's something that's extraordinary, where you can say openly that you took a career break. That's what I'll advise all stay-at-home moms who want to get back to work. Uh, Go to your LinkedIn today and update your experience section, and however long it has been for, put it out there that you have taken a career break. So that is one very good feature of LinkedIn that I see. And I follow a lot of influencers on LinkedIn, popular people on LinkedIn. LinkedIn is also becoming a place where there are LinkedIn influencers, and they have this in their profiles. They will openly say that they took a career break. And I have also seen profiles that said that, and this was a bit for mental realignment because it was a layoff, and they took time to get back to work or whatever they're doing in their current professional capacity. Uh, and it's such a nice read, when you read through their profile and then you say that, oh, wow, this person took a career break. Doesn't look like, because we in our minds have this perception that, if we've taken career breaks, um, we have done very boring jobs, which I will admit they are boring, repeated, monotonous work that we've done. But I've also seen people how beautifully they'll put it out on their explanation for what they did. Okay, career break for parenting. I planned fun family trips. I planned fun play dates, and I learned people skills dealing with kindergarten parents, dealing with teachers, or things like this. It's such a transparent way of saying, outside of your office life that you held earlier or your professional capacity, how you transitioned. It's not easy. And the way that those things have been put in LinkedIn, in your resume, it's a beautiful read. And I say in the digital terminology, it's a scroll stopper. People will stop and read. Career break. Let me see what this person did.
Okay.
Uh, yeah. So I'll encourage listeners to go and update that part as a career break openly.
Mm. And what are some of the other best practices that homemakers can have before going back to work?
Instead of, going and scrambling and looking up for skills to update before you start applying for jobs or starting your own business, take time to update your LinkedIn, put yourself out there, whatever projects. LinkedIn also has a space where you can talk about projects you did. It can also be a voluntary project that you did. A lot of my mom parents, they volunteer at schools, and those are interpersonal skills that you have developed. I will really encourage such skills to be put out. This is a bit of a tactical thing. 20 plus skills you should on LinkedIn. When you go on LinkedIn, start updating it, your experience. LinkedIn now allows you to show what skills in your work experience
Hmm.
you had, or put it out. 20 plus skills. Top three skills are the ones that you want to be either hired for by a recruiter, or you want to be searched as a service provider, as a freelancer if you're going out on your own.
Remember that LinkedIn is your digital virtual resume that keeps updating almost every day through your posts, through your engagement. Have you ever worked with women who've gone from being homemakers and gone back to work after a long career break? Can you give us some examples?
One such client in Singapore I work with, she was a full-time teacher, and she quit that job to focus on her only child. She is an artist. She loves to paint, she loves to draw. And from there on, she wanted to be on LinkedIn. And we came up with a beautiful way to position herself, because she does a lot of mindful art. So she calls herself mindful artist.
Okay.
On LinkedIn, what is this mindful artist doing? But this client of mine is looking to connect with HR and corporates, do those workshops in companies. Her belief is that everybody has an artist in themselves. Art can help you de-stress. So that is one client engagement that I remember, mindful artist.
Mindful artist. Now that we are towards the end of our LinkedIn journey, can you give our listeners some 5 tips?
Before we do that, but there are a couple of people who I really admire, the women, and who've gone back to being professionals, entrepreneurial capacities, and I really love them. I didn't come across all these people on LinkedIn. So one such lady is a comedian based in US, New York. Her name is Zarna, and this is a woman of Indian origin, settled in US for what, over 25 years, 30 years now. She went to stand-up comedy after 17 years of being a homemaker. And she stands out to me as somebody who, she was rejected as an Uber driver in US. But she now makes a career out of stand-up comedy.
Yeah.
Then another one, of course, this is a LinkedIn, Brenda Meller. She's another very good LinkedIn influencer who I follow very closely. I learn a lot from her workshops, her posts, and her podcast because it's directly related to my work. But I really admire her because she is someone who left her corporate life and started as a simple motley marketing consultant, and then has evolved herself as a LinkedIn consultant. She's now very successful as a LinkedIn influencer. She teaches how people can use LinkedIn better. Coming to your question of 5 tips for using. Okay, so one thing for listeners on LinkedIn, and these are very simple things. You don't have to be a writer, you don't have to be a celebrated or a big creative person. You should have a LinkedIn banner. LinkedIn banner on everybody's profile is that background behind the circular picture.
Correct.
That part shouldn't be left blank
Hmm.
because LinkedIn will think that you are a bot if that part is left blank. Second, I'll always encourage listeners to have a professional picture on LinkedIn. That makes a lot of difference. Number three, but also mention who you are and what role are you playing for customers, and what problem are you solving for them. That's what your headline should say. Mention a hard skill because people will find you with that skill. This is the third tip for being on LinkedIn. When it comes to your About Us section, like I mentioned before, the 3 skills that you want to be hired for.
Mm.
Like I introduce myself as a digital marketer, but I want to be getting work in the area of LinkedIn for workshop conduction, for doing webinars, or doing done for you service for LinkedIn lead generation. These are my keywords that I will mention in my about us section. The same thing the listener should do. They should mention those keywords. This keyword also has to be specific for LinkedIn.
Mm.
Remembering that you are looking for your audiences in the B2B space. Okay,
Mm.
they are your target audience. They can be people who will not pay you directly, or they will just call you to do a conversation on collaboration. So keep that thing in mind also when you're putting in keywords. The fifth and the last thing is your recommendations has to be updated. Don't hesitate, even if you have to go back to your 10-year-old work peers or bosses, do that. Ask them for a review or recommendation on LinkedIn. That holds a lot of weightage.
Right.
People talking good about your work, the experience that you brought while working along with them or for them,
Mhm.
holds a lot more weightage than you struggling and going and doing a free course on Udemy just to put it out on LinkedIn. And before you do that, go to your recommendation section and yeah, send out at least 10 10 requests for a recommendation.
Right.
You will be surprised. It will take you one full day to come up with those 10 names.
Wow. Thank you so much, Reena. I think this was really, really useful information, very practical information. And I hope our listeners get a lot out of this.
Yes, yeah. And also, just to end this, I also have a course where people who want to start out their LinkedIn journey after having a career break or whatever transition people have. I will share the link with Ruchi. She will share it with the
Happy to do
listeners.
that. Yeah.
Yeah. And where you can, instead of going and finding somebody on Google whose videos to follow to update your LinkedIn, here you are. You've heard us chat today. And a course coming from me will be definitely giving you uh, a quick turnaround for your LinkedIn updation.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Reena.